All right, so far we have seen how to work with the data, that is downloading the data into your Qliksense and trying to do so massaging through the help of a data manager, uh, or you can go for a load editor. We have seen two ways. Two ways are not really much painful because they are both trying to provide you with a hands-on navigation process through which you are trying to download your data. So we also seen how the load data works, that starts with load, end with the file name, and what are the columns you require. If it doesn't require any column, you can comment it. Only require, always try to take only the required columns so that your dashboard can be very light and fast in terms of a performance. So let me get into the add new. Once I click on add new, as you know, it will ask you a simple question. Simple question: you want to create a new analytical app. Only in the case of a cloud, I have seen it is asking new analytical app. But in general, if you look at the desktop, okay, let's not talk about desktop because it's not existing anymore in the world. If you talk about the enterprise version, which I'm using, I'm a licensed for enterprise. If you see, click on app, it will say simply new app. Here it is saying.
Okay, general लड़के then. Hello, sorry.
So it generally is going to ask for simply a dashboard. So I'm seeing charts. I'm going to see charts because I'm want to learn how the chart objects works here. Today we are just going to concentrate how to create each object, how to enhance it, but otherwise we are not creating any dashboard today, because once you learn all the objects, once you know the data loading part, maybe in the next week we can sit down and sort out how to create our own project, if at all given a data, by understanding it more. So let's see. I just said chart objects. Once I say create, without no time, you'll see new object is created. That is a dashboard. So once it's created, it's going to ask you, do you want to open? Yes, I want to open this. Once I click on this, it's going to ask you two more questions again. Do you want to load your data through the data manager, or you want to go through a script editor? Either ways is fine, but as I said, if you are going following one option, go for that one only. Don't try to use two combinations, because we have seen in the last session how difficult it is to manage both scripts, because one script is written by your system, one script is written by you, and synchronization is not so easy. That is what my observation. So I never use the first option. Second option is always well good, because you are the one who's just starting with the data. You know where the data is lying, which section you have written, what kind of massage you have done for the data. So everything is so visible, clear, understanding, because you are the owner, right? So I'm clicking on the script editor here. The very first thing when I click on this, it's going to ask me, I'll directly jump into this data load editor. As we have seen, what are the use of this left panel and the right panel and the middle panel. Okay, middle panel is simply a canvas. It's like a whiteboard where you can start writing your own script. Okay, and the left one, we have a sections, nothing but I want to create my own section. This is Excel data download, anything, whichever you feel. If you want to give your process name or your dashboard specific related, which makes sense. And this is a complete clear canvas for me where I can write. And don't expect the font size I can increase. No, I can't. Unlike a Visual Basic Editor, I cannot increase the font size here. So at the right side, you can see right now I have only one relation with my desktop with the Excel files. If I create a one more connection with SQL, I'll be having one more connection. If I create one more connection with SharePoint, I'll be having one more connection. If you want to connect with big data, you'll have one more connection. So these connections, this is a panel where you are going to see what are the different connections you have currently for your Qliksense dashboard. Please do remember, whatever the connections you are creating, once the dashboard is completed, when you're creating a new one, again you'll see all these connections, because once you create, it will be forever in your Qliksense app. So that means you can make use of it whenever you want. So I'm just clicking on the folder here, just want to see what are the Excel files I have. So when I go here, I have something called let me click on something which, if you're not finding, no issue, there's always an option at the bottom. Click on this drop and drag, but this is not a data manager. We are clicking from we are clicking from uh, data load editor. Once I click on that, there's a one more option. If it is a, it all depends upon the file size. It I can't comment it how much time does it takes to load a file with a 1 million. It's all depends upon your system performance, because it's more of your BI tools are in-memory processes. That means it depends upon your memory and also your company internet server speed and all. So it's completely depends upon the situation, system requirement. So once you click on that, there's a one more beautiful dialog box is going to appear on your screen. It's going to ask you what exactly you want to do here. I want to do something. You don't want this column. Just when you click on that, it will remove that column from here because you yourself delete it. But as I told you, there is another place where you can do data massage more. So at this place, I always just click on insert script because there's nothing to do much there. And once I do this, the very first thing my job is, because whenever I'm doing step-by-step process, I'll try to finish that work and move on to the next step. Uh, I never want to come back to the process which you already completed, like data loading. I don't want to come back again if I'm working on any project. So I want to give a beautiful name here. Let's say sales data. But when I've written my table name, it's giving the error. The reason is you cannot have a spaces into your dashboard name. So either you can use the double quotes here to make it complete one, but still it is giving an error. There is an issue. Maybe I need to give the open and closing brackets. Let me see, but still I have an issue. The problem is whenever you give a table name, you need to give a semicolon, which denotes that you are talking about a table name. I repeat, blue color lines always talks about the keywords, and the amber color which you see in orange color probably, it's called as column names. Okay, nothing is user defined here, everything is like you extracted. So the path is in completely black color, and the purple color is denotes your table name. And whenever you talk about something like comments are really useful. You all know this is my sales data from Excel. Something I've written just like for fun, so that somebody can understand what exactly I'm doing. Just give two forward slashes. Don't use it. You can also use the comment section from here. You can multiple lines can be commented or single line. So let me see if how to do a multiple lines. Select all the data and give just click on that. Everything is commented. So this is nothing but a commenting section where you are going to comment and write some more information about your data loading and everything. All right. So after doing this, what you want to do is, and here you can see all changes saved. That means if, whenever you're writing even a single letter, it is trying to save automatically. That is a beautiful feature about the enterprise version and as well as the cloud version. But don't expect the same option when you're working on a desktop. In case of a desktop, if I remember correctly, every second, whatever the uh, process I'm doing, I need to keep saving it. But here, the good part is when I'm typing here, automatically it's trying to see save. So even if you are closed Internet Explorer or Chrome or Microsoft Edge by mistake, not to worry, everything is automatically saved. So never worry about whether it's saved or not. Okay, so that's how the data is into my ClickSense. But I want to see really the data is sitting in my into my system. Not really, because as soon as you put the script, okay, which is written by you or this system has given through the wizard, this is how you got it. Anytime if you feel this is not required, just comment it out or remove permanently. I always commented because I want to see what are the columns we had at least when I just loaded. It's always better to comment. If you're not using any columns, don't delete it. If you delete it again, you need to write the exact name of it. And very important thing to be noticed in ClickSense, unlike Visual Basic, ClickSense is very, very case sensitive. So you need to understand what is a case sensitive here. You cannot write the way you want, uppercase, lowercase, proper case. No, you need to give the same case how the data is loaded from your Excel. For example, if you see region, it is a proper case. R is uppercase, rest of the letters is lowercase. So that means I need to use the same style. If you're writing in uppercase, it will never understand what you're talking about. So for me, or for ClickSense, uh, region and region, and if you talk about this one, these three words, so for us human being, region, everything is sounding same and meaning is also same. But for the click sense it is different. ClickSense will treat these three as three different column names. So please do ensure like we are using a proper case not proper case, whatever the case it is there in the click sense, try to use that only. But however, if you want to make everything capitalized and you like the capital case, use as region, so that you'll start using the column names only in the uppercase. Here the country also I want as a country, maybe in uppercase. As is a keyword which will try to make your original column name with a user defined name, because I don't know if my customers can understand what is that mean. So I want to give a proper name when I'm presenting on my dashboard. Plus, please do remember, when I'm changing the column name here, I'm not changing in Excel, but I'm changing in ClickSense for my convenience only, so that I can easily identify, so that I can easily refer in my dashboard, so that my people who are looking into my dashboard, they can understand easily. If I have a name called REG, people may not understand what does it mean. Because you are a data expert, you know very well what is that. Ronnie, matlada beta, sorry. So as a data expert, you know very well what exactly REG stands for. But however, you need to always ensure that you are giving a proper names, so that we can easily identified. Okay, so here I just for a sample I just created two column names, my own names, instead of depending upon the way it is loaded. So once the data is sitting, not really, actually the data is still not sitting in your ClickSense. The reason is the data is not yet loaded. So every time whenever you do any structural changes in terms of this one, just click on the load data. So this is all stuff which you already watched and understood, might be practiced in your previous session. And this is just to recap, because we are getting into something called creating a visualizations. That's it. So I just moved to my sheet now. The very first thing, once you have loaded the data in the ClickSense, it is a time to create the visualizations in the graphical user interface. People use very often graphical user interface, and I want to understand more. Graphical user GUI, more specifically, they use GUI stands for graphical user interface. So what is a graphical user interface when it comes to ClickSense? Okay, ClickSense, the sheet itself is a graphical user interface. Why? Because you are going to create the different colors of charts you're going to present on this particular sheet. So that means this is your graphical user interface. Now, out of my curiosity, I just want to create one sheet here. Let's see how to create a sheet. Can I click on this one? Yes, it is allowing me to create the sheet from here, or click on here. So I'm creating the first sheet. I'm creating the third sheet. I'm creating the fourth sheet. Just like that, I created, I came out. Now I can see there are four sheets. Now, after creating an empty sheet to start your visualization, you need to do some few settings, which you know that. That is, once you click on edit, what happens is it will ask you a few questions again. How you want this particular sheet to look like? Okay, when you double click on this sheet, you'll end up getting a right side a property window. This nothing but it will tell you what is a beautiful name you want to give for this particular sheet. Let's say I'm trying to understand how to work with the bar charts, so let me give as a bar charts. That immediately whatever the name you have given, it will appear on the top. And here the title expression, nothing. And again, it depends upon your style of designing your dashboard, whether you want a wide. You can see the grill size here, grid size. When I click on narrow, it will become very smaller. You can see this is only a cosmetic changes which you're trying to do, and slowly you'll understand which size is a better size for me, whether I need to go for a wide, medium, or narrow. For now, let it keep the default one. Responsive, we know that what is a responsive mean, whether you want a smaller screen layout. So don't change anything, because everything is looking good here. And this is, this is nothing but giving a uh, sheet image, because you want to keep every sheet very neatly, and you want to give, okay, let's assume this is a sheet image for this. When I click on this, you'll find that image is stored here. So let me go and see, is it really changed? When you go here, you will see the first chart, first sheet, which is showing with a specific sheet. Why? Because this sheet is talking about more of sales. So I want to give a specific image to it, so that for me or for anyone developer who's working along with me in the team on this project, they can easily identify and relate. Anytime you can come back to this. So this is, you're sitting in this sheet now. Anytime you can create the ribbons at the top, which makes your uh, each sheet very beautiful, because that is what we require. We are just trying to make, let me make this as a red color. Okay, second color also I want as a red color. That's it. Now how I want the font color to be, you can change. If you want to give any company logo, you can do that. Just say done. Whenever you do something, just say done, because that is going to change your settings. So you can see now, you can see now, the first sheet is ready with your at the top as a banner. Left side we have what exactly this sheet is. Is it a sales? Is it a production? Is it about the employee information? About it something else? So you're going to give such a title which is talking about these graphs or presentation. At the right side, I basically give the logo at the right side, which because your eyes always goes at the right, not at the left. But however, you can put your logo, company logo at the left or in the right or in the center, whichever is feasible. So in the left one, you can see now after clicking on the newly created sheet, now you're looking at an empty sheet, right? This is what the empty sheet, and you created the bar, but you have probably figured out already the sheet is empty and located in the middle. Right now, it's sitting exactly in the middle because this is your canvas. This is your GUI, I can say. Right side, I have a properties. Left side, I have all the important tools for me, which I'm going to use for further creating dashboard. The first panel is talking about what fields you wanted. Okay, what fields I wanted, the fields which I loaded, you will be having. You can see now the country is not showing as a country lowercase, but uppercase, because that is how I wanted in my Qliksense. But having said that, I repeat this fact, I'm not changing in the Excel, I'm just changing in the Qliksense for my own uh, to make life easy. And the master items chart, we'll see all these things, but today we are talking about a charts. As you know, we have a lot of charts here, and whenever you want to bring out any chart on your canvas, first think about the data. What kind of data you have? Okay, let me go to the data first, because before we actually create anything, I want to see how the data looks like. After understanding the data, probably you will know what I'm creating and how easy it is. So sales record new something. Now, once I go here, basically first my impression goes to the column names. Are they really nice to have it, or I'm supposed to change anything? Okay, I have few columns here. First one is saying region, which is makes sense. Second one is saying country, so that means maybe Middle East is the region under which Libya is a country in that region. So here we have item type. What are the different type of items you have? Cosmetics, baby food, vegetable, clothes. Okay, these are the different items what my company is selling. And we have a sales channel. That means in the today's world, you see that it's not always like you go to a store and buy things, you'll go online also. So we have two options here, uh, offline and online probably. So that means maybe my business wants to see where exactly I'm making more sales, and which area I'm getting more profits. Is it an online or a physical store? So that is what it is saying, the column name. Always try to read the column name and look at the column values. Okay, so that's how you'll understand, yes, this is the correct column name and with the correct column values. Whenever you feel that this is something not looking good, you can always consult your SMEs project managers to make your data ready before you get onto your visualizations. Never get into visualizations until unless you're not ready with your data. The next one is talking about order date. So that means in whichever the country, in whichever the region, whatever the item, whether it's offline or online, what is the order date? In which year, in which month, which day the order is being placed? And what is the order ID associated with that particular date and the product? And how many units being sold? How many, what is the unit price? For example, this one, cosmetics, and it is being placed offline, that is going to store physically on so and so date, that is 2018, and the order ID is this. Then how many units is being sold is 8,446. So that means what is the unit price actually? 437.2. And is what is the total profit I got out of this by selling these units? So that means this is my profit. So looks very easy for me, this data reading and understanding data also quite easy, because I know what is this data. I know what is expected from me. So probably my team is expecting, my business is expecting, can you create visualizations where I can see region wise what is the sales, country wise what is the sales, item type, that is nothing but the product type, what are the sales I'm doing, whether I'm doing offline, whether I'm doing online, and what is the order date, on which date mostly people are buying. It is a Christmas time, it is a Diwali time, what is a basic month or year, uh, or any particular day, especially is it a Friday or a weekend, which day the moment is more happening. So if I want to get this kind of insights so that I can take a strong decision to move more products and sell more products so that I can make really a profit. So this is a quite easy data here. Now I'm closing this. We have seen what are the different columns we have. Let me place it here. So I'll go to my Chrome. One more thing here, never try to use Internet Explorer. What I found when I'm using Internet Explorer, the colors what you placed is not really showing up. So either use Chrome, the new browser. It's not new browser, but Microsoft has come up with one more browser called Edge with a lot of features. So uh, whenever you're going for this Qliksense, it's quite advisable to use either Chrome or Microsoft Edge. I really like the Microsoft Edge because the way you're creating, the way you're putting the colors, visualizations are really, really fitting, and the look is really, really beautiful. So try to use either Chrome or Microsoft Edge, but never go for an Internet Explorer. It is not really supporting and showing up that punchy colors on your screen. So that's a personal thing which is I'm facing. So that's how you can start using that one. So now once you created your sheet and you're at the top, whatever the red color you're showing up, everything is not mandatory, because I love to create at the top. Once you create it, what happens is whenever you're creating a new sheet, automatically you'll have that particular red bar. And by creating that bar, it's like starting of your dashboard. That's what it looks like. And at the second panel, you can see what are the different graphs you have here. So before doing anything, now when I click on done, what does it mean here? So when I click on done, let's see what happens. That means I'm trying to tell my user, now my product is ready, you can start looking at it. So this is the end user view where he is going to see all the graphs or whatever you created on the sheet. But now it is completely empty canvas. So before doing anything, click on the edit button. To the to the right side, what we have at the toolbar. Okay, doing so will open the assets panel. So at the right side we have left side we have an asset panel. At the right side we have the sheet panel. So you need to be very, very comfortable in understanding these panels, so that because every panel you are going to use, it's not like that if I don't know properties it's fine. No, if I know graphs location, it's fine. No, everything is important here, because you keep shuffling between data load editor, you'll keep shuffling between graphs. Okay, you'll go to the fields and see what are the fields available. You'll go to master items to see what are the master items. You'll go to the property to enhance your charts. Okay, so once I click on these charts, right now I'm in the development mode, guys. This is a place where never ever end user will reach. It is your place. It's completely your place where you're developing things. Once everything is done, you're going to say done. That is what the readable mode where the end user is going to see. So this is my time, my place to create my visualizations. So click on the edit button at the right side to start adding your charts. Okay, depending upon where you want to create. Like maybe I want to create at the right side or the left side or the middle panel or the bottom. It's completely your choice. How you want to design your visualizations is completely your choice. So let me pick up for the first time. I'm just trying to work on the bar chart for the first time. So how my mindset should be. First of all, I should have a very clear idea. Okay, I want to use a bar graph. So what is the purpose of it? What I want to show there? Maybe I want to show for each region what are the different sales I've done, or what are the different units I've sold, how much profit I gain. Maybe that is one thing which I want to do. Okay, before we actually drop, so let me drop this. I want to see, I'm not able to control that urge of looking at how default the style of this visualizations looks like. So right now I placed here, but if you try to see the moment I'm trying to drag and drop, it is trying to tell me wherever you want, you can drop it, either right side, at the bottom, left side, at the top. Okay, just place it just like that, and you can drag it anytime, whichever the style you want, at the bottom, maybe at the top. When you're dragging in, this is what the limitation I've seen in the Qliksense. This is a box type what I've created my bar graph. When I'm trying to move to the top, it will not come into the same shape again. When you drag it again, you need to make the desired style. So that is a limitation I can say. However, but still it's okay. So once you place the bar graph here, the very first thing I want you guys to notice, there are only two things being asked. So that's why in the last week sessions we are really stressing on what is dimension, what is a measure, because if you don't know this, uh, creating visualizations makes really no sense. So what happens is, once you place this bar graph, it is asking two questions, as I said. One is a dimension, one is a measure. So let me recap myself. I just want to brush up my memory. Adding dimension measures, you can now drag and drop the fields. For example, uh, it's not like I need to click on here to add a dimension. You can also go to the fields and say, I want this country to be as a dimension and measure. I want the order date to be a dimension and measure. You can decide whatever you want by just dragging and dropping on this. I'm not dropping now because I want to still wait and understand what is this graph and how it looks like. Okay. So basically, dimension, as you have seen, it's a field within which has a discrete values. Last time Vidya was using this word discrete values. That's the right word to be used. For example, you have a customer, we have a product or a month. This chart is the right chart to be used as a dimension, not as a measure. So whenever you talk about a dimension, it should be something called, it should be a product name or a month, a year, or a customer. That's how it should be. Once you talk about a measure, usually it is like a number, right? For example, some of the sales or number of orders, or it's simply whatever you are placing here, measure, it will be always talks about the height of your graph, right? Dimensions are nothing but which is going to sit at the x-axis, and the y-axis is your measure, which is going to define your height. So let me quickly create and just see. I just want to show you how it looks like, not really uh, okay, how it looks like. So if you want to add any particular column, you are free to add the column directly here. But being doing for the first time, I want to see what is this option I want to do from here, not from the left panel. So I'm clicking on the dimension. So already you are very clear now what is the dimension. So I want to add a region. So let's add a region. All right. So I'm yet to see my graph. The graph is not yet ready. The reason is it is asking you minimum two parameters. One is dimension and one is measure. So I satisfied already the condition called region, but however, the length of the bars is not yet defined. So let me go for an add measure. So when you click on an add measure, it is little different. Let me see how it is different. When you click on add measure, it will ask you what you want to add here. So maybe I want to add a unit sold or unit price or a profit. So when I click on profit, it will not directly allow me to add, but it will ask you a very polite question here. When you click on that, being this is a number, you want to aggregation. We need aggregation here. That means you want to show the sum of sales, or you sum of profit, or you want to show count of the profit, or you want to show average of the profit, or you want to show minimum or maximum. So these are the default aggregations which comes with. So that means when I'm placing region, it will never ask, do you want a count, you want to submit? No, we don't want to do that. But when it comes to a measure, it will always ask you aggregation part. So let me click again and understand what it is. When I'm trying to click on add measure, it will directly not allow you to add anything because I just clicked on profit, but it's not directly jumping into the bar chart. When I click on profit, it is asking me few questions here. Now it's a time to decide whether you want a sum of profit, count of profits, average of profit, minimum or maximum. I just clicked on sum. Let's see how the graph looks like for the first time on the screen. This is what my graph is looking right now on my screen. So this is my own space where I can do still the dragging and dropping, the shape I want to make it exactly in the middle. Once you say done editing, now it is available for the end user to view it. So now at this moment I cannot do any edits because as an end user, you are interested to see a full screen probably, or you want to see a normal screen. And as an end user also, I can see still what is happening on the what is happening on the Europe. When you select it as an end user, you have seen in the very first session going for the demo session. So when I click on this, I can see only in the Europe what is happening. Right now it is telling me some of the profit in the Europe, it is 213.86 millions. So that is the profit what I made in the Europe region. So if I want to see all the regions at once, you just remove the selection. You can see Africa, Asia, Australia, and Central America. And these are the different what we have. But looking at the graph, it's so interesting. Within no time, I could able to create, but it is not properly aligned. So that means it's not either descending or ascending or descending order, from that is A to Z or Z to A. The reason is this is how the data is loaded. It started with Africa, so it is trying to show the graph in the same way, but we'll try to do a lot of modifications. But however, I want to show you how it looks like when I place as is by default feature. So let me click on edit, because I want to edit, because I want to change the size, I want to change the color, I want to do a lot of modifications. So obviously you need to click on the edit it, because you are still developer and you're trying to do some modifications. So let me make it a big, because we are just working on a bar graph today. uh, and I want to understand more about bar graph. So having understood like what is the measure and what is dimension, when you added this both dimension and measures, what happens is the bar graph will appear uh, as you're seeing on the screen right now. But to the right we'll have the properties, okay, which you can enhance again. I'm not coming to the property set. After understanding this graph, I'll come to the properties, how well you can make this graph look more attractive. You can also make it as a full screen, which you have seen, okay. To see the final result anytime, you can just click on the done editing to see the final results. So a bar chart is a graph basically displaying the data using the number of bars, right? So we have bar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever. Tomorrow I have 50 countries, so you'll have 50 bars here. So showing bar graph is really makes sense for the kind of data I'm holding, that you need to understand very, very clearly. Because though it's easy to create a bar graph, but does it make sense is a more important factor here. So each bar displays a particular category here, right? Africa is showing only Africa's information, nothing else. And the length of the graph, the more the height is, that means that particular region is doing more. That is what we have an understanding. uh, Whether you're working on any particular application, or even if you see in the newspaper or television on the internet, whenever you look at the bar graph, the eyes goes on the top one, right? The top one, that means Europe is playing a very major key role in terms of the sales profit. When you look at North America is not doing very well, that means looking at the graph within no time, though I don't have much knowledge about this product, but I'm able to speak like a pro. The reason is the height of the bar denotes its performance, right? If you look at the second one is going to be something Africa, okay, 217. When you look at Europe, it is showing 213. So sorry, Africa is highest in this, whereas the second highest is your Europe. The third highest would be Middle East, 116, and Asia is showing 108. That means Asia is still trying to compete with the Middle East. It is not performing well when it is compared to the Middle East. However, in the whole month or year, I don't know, because the month and year is not really clear here. But looking at the graph, I can say Europe is Africa is doing very well in terms of these particular products. Europe is the second place, and the third place is Middle East, then Asia, then comes to Central America, then Australia, then North. So that's how I can easily able to read, though I'm not professional in reading these kind of a graphs, because I'm not from finance, I'm not from sales, I'm not from anything. Even if you're from out of the different technology also, you can still make out what it is mean. So this is what the graph is all about, okay. But as I said, like it's the most common and favorite graph type, because it's a simple to create, easy to interact. It is popular visualizations tool for analyzing categories of a data like cities or product, the way we are doing now for the regions maybe, okay. For which region what happened, which city what happened, which country what happened. So the design of the graph highlights the performance of the level of the each category. That's what I was referring, like Africa is standing it out when you look at the bar graph. So bar graphs charts can be displayed either vertically or horizontally. But I don't know how to display this horizontally, because by default, when I just drag and drop, this is what the style it is showing. But bar graph has a facility of showing the same bar graph in the horizontal also. We'll see a little bit later, but we have that facility. Thanks to Qliksense, because we have that facility of showing the bars at the horizontal also, not always the vertical, because we have that impression like bar graph is always vertical, but we can also create horizontal. Uh, to understand it more actually, because I've created just now a bar graph, it's good, but where exactly it can be used actually, if you talk about healthcare, for example, where exactly this bar graph can be used by healthcare, any healthcare industry, for example, bar charts, they wanted to display maybe heart rate of a patient per day, analysis of highest adult diabetes or any diseases for that matter, or else average waiting time of a patients in a different health centers probably, maybe that's just a assumption. because there are other chart type of charts also, but this is the best chart can be used in the healthcare industry, showing what is the wait time of uh, patients in a different health centers, because this is Hyderabad center, this is some Bangalore center, this is some other Chennai center. What is the waiting time in each particular center? You can easily see uh, if you are working in a what do you call healthcare center. Just So especially if you talk about finance, you can easily imagine actually they are much useful in comparing the something like a budget versus actual. Okay, what is the actual profit you got and what is the budget we have, the expenses for this quarter, for this month. Or you can also refer to revenue for the each month. How much revenue I'm getting for each month. You can also show in the form of bar graph. You can also talk about the profit the way I'm showing right now on the screen, and also to see what is the actual performance is doing by my company over the benchmark. That is always we have a threshold, right? So are we doing before, I mean, better than that or less than your benchmark? So whichever the industry you take, this bar graph is the most commonly used actually, and it's the most favorite one. Easy to create. Easy to create is one thing, but at the same time, when it comes to a displaying of information, is very very neat. So if you talk about the retail companies, okay, they always find these bar charts very meaningful. Okay, they want to show something like what do you say, target versus actual sales. How much happened? What is your target, and what was your sales, for example. Okay, so across any category, for example, the way I'm showing here regions, so you want to see what is your target actually and how much you really made your sales. Talk about the manufacturing companies, maybe they will try to analyze productive level of different periods. 2017, what happened? 2018, what happened? So even manufacturing companies can go, whether it's a pharmaceutical, whether it's a finance world. If you talk about a technology also, technology companies always try to use this bar graph, especially to find the trends, right? I can use this bar graph, in fact, for my YouTube channel. I want to see how many people are watching my videos, from which, is it a female or a male, or is it from out of the India or within India? So the more, the bigger height of my bar, that denotes, okay, this particular video is going trending. Okay, this particular video is really going very good in this month, and let's see what happens in the next month. So bar graph is basically to understand where your company is standing at this moment. Company position, it will it will define. All right. This is a default style of your bar, which is showing in the blue color. Whether you like it or not, that's a standard color. So does that mean I cannot add more colors? Yes, definitely you can add all those your favorite colors, but always ensure that you are going with the company rules, because every company has some defined colors which are supposed to be used. JP Morgan, Bank of America, HSBC, talk about any company, XYZ company will have their own standard colors. So if they are not really particular, go with your favorite color. All right. But otherwise, they always want to show some profit in green color, uh, something which is bad in red color. Okay. Something is favorable, they want to show in a blue color, whatever it may be. So always go with your company norms colors. If you don't have any restriction, you can go with whatever the colors you like. So let me click on the edit, because why I'm clicking on edit again and again, because I want to edit this one. As simple as that. The word itself is indicating editing this object. I want to edit it, I want to enhance it. So at the bottom you can see a region which is showing very nicely. That means it is telling end user, okay, it is telling the end user these names, what you see, Asia, North America, these are nothing but regions. That is what I'm trying to tell to the end user. At the right side, I'm trying to show 0, 50 million, 100 million, 150, 200 million. If you observe, I have not updated anywhere saying that I want the y-axis to be shown from 0 to 250. I never told to my graph, but it has automatically identified, looking at the range of your profit, is it 100 million or 200 million? It's automatically identified. So it has taken the highest number, that is 250. If you look at my highest profit, which I made in the Europe, in the Africa, it is 217. So it is taking round figure as 250 as a top, so that the bars can really fit in. But having said that, it's not the end of the world. This 250 can be 350 if you want to change it. That means you want to make it a bigger scale, so that there are chances where your company making more profit. So your bar should not go out of your screen. It should be within your limited area. So let's see how to do that. So having placed the bar graph here, I want to go for the properties. Guys, try to make a very important note here. When I'm trying to talk about the properties, try to have a clear understanding what these properties and how they play a very important role. Because once you understand about one object, there is no need to talk about properties of other objects. All are same. Some slight difference is there where I'll try to stress more, but otherwise you'll find the same one. All right. So let me show you also one different thing here. I pasted one. I have a one bar graph. When I click on at the outside of the bar, it is showing me the properties of sheet. So please ensure the properties for which object you are changing. I just clicked on here. Now it's showing chart properties only. When I'm clicking on here, it is showing only sheet properties. So let me keep the default style of my bar chart as is, because I don't want to change it. So I want to create one more. So I'm not going to take that kind of stress creating one more. I'll simply select this one, Control C, and paste as Control V. So you'll be finding one more graph is ready. Same graph I created just like that by copying and pasting. I've not done anything. I just copied and pasted. When I click on done, you'll see there are two graphs now. Okay, make no sense. Both are same graphs actually. But what I want to do is, I don't want to change anything on the default one. The second one I try to change, you can find real difference between how the standard graph is being changed to a different style. That's a major thing. Okay, when I click on this one, the very first one you're going to see here, dimension. Okay, dimension, it is telling me when I click on this region. Okay, when I click on this one, being you placed a region as the dimension, it is showing me dimension properties here. The first property we have is field. Obviously my field name is region, so it's showing as a region. Still we have a chance to change your region label, okay, which is displayed at the bottom. Okay, still you can change it just for presentation sake, but you're not actually changing the source data. For example, region names. Okay, I just given so that my end user can easily understand what does it mean. The moment I do it, you'll see the region names is changed at the bottom, right? So this is basically the very first one. Dimension has a field name which you cannot change because you already placed it. But anytime if you want to change it, you can click on this effects. I'll try to show in a within short while. But at this moment, try to understand what is the field. Field is nothing but what field you selected for your graph. And the second one is what is a label. Label always denote presentation, for presentation purpose, what text you want to display. It's very simple. Presentation purpose, what text you want to display. Might be my data consists of region, reg, but that's not good practice to display for the end user. You will not never understand what is reg stands for. That's your shortcut, or maybe that's how the data is coming into your source. But always try to give a proper full information to the end user so that layperson can also understand what this mean. Okay, what is Africa mean, what is this, these are the region names. Here we have a third one option. Okay, we have a field option, we have a label option. Third one is include null values. Okay, null values has a very great importance here. For instance, uh, let's assume North America is not doing well over this year. So obviously it has a 0. So that means when I click on this option, what happens is by default is selected. I'm not doing any changes here. Okay, I've changed only label name. So that means by default this option is ticked. That means even if any region is not performing, please show on the graph. That is what we are trying to, that is what the graph is trying to tell here. But if I uncheck this, what happens is, as all the regions are doing one or other profit, if you find any particular region which is not doing a good job, completely 0, that is null, empty. So that means I don't want to display that bar itself here. That is what it means, include null values or does not include. So it's your choice whether your company is asking you whether you're performing or not. In the bar, please try to show non-performing regions also in the graph. So it's up to you whether you want to have this or not. Okay, so let it be the default now. As you understood what does it mean, the next one, it is talking about limitations. So right now, let me understand this. What does the limitation mean? Limitation means as of now I have 7 markets here, no limitation. That means uh, it's not me who's told to my bar graph, please show me all the 7. It is the data how it is. Okay, that is how my data is showing me the 7 regions. So all the 7 regions are by default displayed here, but limitation we can also change here. When you click on this, it will tell you fixed number. That means don't show me all the bars, rather I'll try to move to my default option again because I want you to notice what is happening here. When I click on fixed number, what does it mean is don't show all the bars. I'm not really liking it. Just show only top three. Okay, that means if I select only top three and say done, what happens is it's you're not interested to show the entire graph with all the regions, but only three important bars. So that let me go for four now. So out of seven regions, you are trying to show only four. But the last one, what is it showing in a different color? I wanted only four graphs, okay, including that others, which is showing like Africa, Europe, Middle East. Why only these three? Because they are the top three markets. And the fourth one is showing others. Do you have any region called others here? No. So that means out of seven regions, you are interested to show only three regions, so it's showing. So rest of the four regions are consolidated and showing as a one bar. It's up to you if you want to show the others or uncheck it. It will show you only the top three markets which is available in your data set. So once I uncheck and try to click on done editing, it will it will try to show only three important markets, four important markets, other than others. What is others? You need to understand the key point here. This is more or less used when we have a 54 countries. It need not to be all the 54 countries are performing very well, but however, company wants to see only top 10 countries performing very well. Can you show me all top 10 countries? Yes. Can you show me bottom 10 countries which are doing worse in my sales? You can also show that. So that means anytime you can change top five or top two, the number is your desired number. I'm not making any comment here. You should be always five or else four. It depends upon your requirement. If I say five, that means it will change to only five. Okay, I'm just showing five here. When I say bottom five, okay, or bottom two, let's say bottom two, here I'm trying to show only bottom two countries which are performing in this, not performing, rather I can say these are the bottom two countries. Okay, you can see North America and Australia, which are not really performing, and they are below 60 millions. Okay, they are just touching 60 millions. Actually, my profit is 250 millions in entire data set. So only top two, uh, and we have a top here, we have a bottom here. It's up to you. What do you want to show? What is your requirement? All right, so we have seen limitations, how important role it can play, whether you want to show top or bottom performing regions, countries, sales, whatever the situation might be. Here, the situation is region-wise, what is the profit? So that's what we have done here. Master items, I don't know what is master item mean at this moment. So let me come down and let me see what is measures. So the way we have properties for the measures, now I'm talking about measures properties. So that means we have yourself decided that you want a profit as a height of this bar. So this is what it is showing. And right now at the left side, it is showing as a sum of profit, which is not really nice label to show. You can say profit. Okay. You want to say something which is nice, people can understand. What is that? Region by profit. You want to say something like this. So that easily people can understand. I said enter. Immediately you see that effect will be taken within no time. That is profit by region. So here, the very important factor which you need to understand, I've never told my bar graph, can you show in millions? I never showed my bar graph show in billions. So probably the profit is my company is doing only in to the level of 250. But however, you can change that one information that is you want to show in the form of numbers. Okay, once you show in the form of numbers, it will show you the complete number with the decimals. That is what the number mean. If you don't want to have your own style, please always depends upon the auto, because auto always takes the default number, which is always nice. But anytime sometimes somebody wants to show in a different style, this is not the right example. Actually, you want to show in the date style, it's not a date style actually, so you cannot show in the date, which is not applicable. But however, you can change it. Custom also you can change it. Measure also expression, that means I don't know how to write the expression, that is talking about expressions. So in the numbers also we have a different styles again. When you select the number, it is telling you simple style. That is simple style in the sense showing the complete number with the two decimals. That is what it is saying. Second option would be only show the complete number without any decimals. The next one is showing as a percentage. I want to show the profit in the terms of percentage. Let me done it and click on this one, and Europe is now trying to show in the form of a complete number with a percentage. This is not the right example, but it's showing the percentage now, the number. So anytime if you want to show your style of producing that numbers for the display purpose, how you want to show, that is what this option is available. By default is auto, always it will try to round figure to the millions. So that's a very good option available. Add trend lines, I don't want to add. Let's hold for some time. I'll come bottom and see there's nothing available. So that means every bar graph will have only two things. One is dimensions and measures. It properties, you have seen how quickly we can change it. The number style, you can change it. You can change the labels, you can change it. The third option plays again an important role here. First one is dimensions, second one is measures, third one is sorting. When you click on sorting, let's see what are the options available. Okay, region names. Region names, it is already by default, it's a by default option, right? So sorting is done by auto. It is done by auto based on the data you load it. But when you say, when you switch it off, okay, it's already on. When you switch it off, that means you want to do your own style of sorting. For example, I removed everything. There is one option called sort by expression. If I select this, what happens? It is sorted by expression. When I clicked on this, it's sorted by expression. Again, here we have an option called you want ascending or descending. Okay, now nothing is happening. I'll tell you the reason why it's not happening. When I select this sort by expression, this is sort by numerically. That means number wise, try to sort it. The more big number or small number, try to ascending or descending. If you look at it, though I'm putting a lot of with a lot of interest, I'm trying to make it ascending and descending, it's not happening anything. I'll tell you the strong reason here. Most of people fail to understand this one. I have only 7 regions here, and I'm trying to make sorting ascending and descending, which will never happen. But ideally it should happen, but it's not happening. Why? We'll see in the next couple of seconds. Next we have a profit region. Profit by region, you want to make it ascending or descending, your wish. You want to make it ascending or descending, you can select the sorting order how you want the sort order. Okay, uh, now sometimes you want the order to be, the profit should be at the top. You can select and drag it down so that the profit will be on the top and the region will be at the bottom. Now you can see the sorting has been changed, because being 7, it started the order from the what do you call, from the least to highest. So when I try to change, but I want this way, let the names to be names, but that at the same time I want to order in this style, that ascending and descending, which will never happen. But at least at this moment you can adjust by changing this style where it will show from least to top. Okay, least to top. So that's how you can simply sort it. However, I'll take the same example when I'm trying to do with the countries where I have a lot of bars. We can understand very close. Right now we have only 7 regions. Maybe you're not getting the point. Add-ons right now, don't touch this one. I'll talk about later. Next, we have a appearance. So more or less, we are using the data option. We are using a sorting option. And the final one is appearance. Appearance, the word itself is indicating how do you want this bar graph to be appeared in the real world. By default is showing blue color, by default is showing in number format, by default is showing in some styles. So anyhow, whenever you want to change this entire style, you can change it. Just click on the general one. By default it is showing something called click here to add a title. Can I add a title here? Yes, you can add, or else you can add here. This is region, let me say profit by region. That is my title of the bar graph, because the moment you display a bar graph, it should have some title where people can easily identify. The sheet itself is having one title, the dashboard itself is having one title, right? It's a sales dashboard, it is a financial performance dashboard, or my production performance dashboard, or employee performance dashboard, some name which to identify. So this bar graph is having a nice name now, profit by region. The same way, if you want to have some subtitle, okay, subtitle in the sense, let's say for 2020, I'm just saying just like that for 2020, that is a subtitle which you're trying to give your profit by region, which you have seen might be in the Excel. When you're creating a bar graph, you'll have a subtitle also. And no surprise, you'll have a footer note also. Footer note, you want to say something like a comment. You want to say which region is doing better. For example, you want to say the above graph based on current month data. Some information you want to put as a bottom, what do you call, as your footer notes. So we have seen how quickly I could able to change it because I know the properties. So that means if you want to be confident enough that I can do whatever I want with the bar graph, you should be confident only. You'll get the confidence only when you know the properties. I could able to change a title here. I could able to change the subtitle. If you ask me, is it really important? I don't know. It depends upon the requirement again. Bottom, yes, some graphs doesn't require any caveat, but some graphs you need a caveat because you want to be very particular, saying to the end user, boss, this information is being showing up on the dashboard only on the current month, not in the previous month, something like that. You want to put some kind of additional information to the end user. So I'm just clicking back to the edit mode again to make more enhancements. So we have seen this profit for 2020, this one. So anytime if you don't like it, just switch it off. You'll see everything is disappear just like that on your screen. Okay. I have to click once again. Okay. You can see everything is disappeared just like that. That is your title, subtitle, and the footnote. It's always better to just switch it on. Okay. So that's it. Once you click on this and disable hover menu, that means when you just click on this, you'll not, by default, what happens is when you just click on this, you're trying to see the information of Africa, right? You are able to see what is this information wherever you place. I have not done anything actually. Whenever you place on anything, you are getting this tooltip information about that particular bar. So if you want to disable, you can disable, but I don't like to disable because that is a beautiful option actually. Whenever you place your mouse pointer on any graph, it will try to give more information. So that's what we have in the general information. Let me go to alternate states. It's more of scientific information. So let's hold this for some time. I'll try to take a proper graph to explain that. Let's go for a presentation. Again, the word itself is indicating. Do I need to explain more here? The moment you look at the presentation, it is telling you whether you want a vertical or horizontal. Here is the place where you are going to change the entire structure style of the graph to vertical to horizontal. That's it. It's entirely, it will change within no time. The graph is completely turned out to be a different style. So never try to fix with only one style, go with a different style so that it will give more information. So once you click on done editing, this is how the graph is going to look like. That is completely horizontal spacing. This is what I have in the new edition, actually, mini chart scroll bar. Scroll bar in the sense, right now when I click on done, for me, there is no need of any scroll bar here because everything is completely I'm able to see. What if this graph is very small and when I want to see information, I need to scroll it, right? So let me make that situation for you so that you have a situation where you need to scroll actually. I'm trying to make very small graph. Now, if I want to see what is the region is doing, I need to use this scrolling bar here to see it, right? So that is what this option is telling you. When I click on editing, it is trying to tell you, do you want any mini chart to be displayed in the scroll bar style? You can have it, or you can say you want to show as a bar, or you doesn't want to show any scroll bar for your bar chart or horizontal chart. When I click on this, there's nothing now. I don't know how to scroll now. I can use still your mouse pointer to just shuffle between the different countries. It's only that situation where you don't have a space on your sheet. You squeezed your graph where you're using your scroll bar. For example, 54 countries, right? All 54 countries I may not show on the dashboard. I'm not able to see at a single go. So you need to have a scroll bar. Just like your Excel sheet, you have some 10,000 rows. If you want to see what is the bottom rows, you need to use the scroll bar. So here it's a new addition what is being added in the Qliksense, which is really beautiful. I can say how you want the scroll bar to be. You want to show as a mini chat in the slide. Let's see what is a mini chat. You can see as a mini chat it is showing. Beforehand itself, the entire chat is showing in the mini chat. and you can just scroll it and see what is happening. This situation will arise only when you don't have a space on your canvas which you are trying to fit in a small space. But in this case, I don't really require, because my graph is perfectly sitting in my sheet without any problem. So there's no need of any scroll bar here. At the vertical, no scroll bar. Bottom, I don't require any scroll bar. It's perfectly sitting, so I don't have any issue here. So let me make this graph into this style, this size, so that I'll have more room. Let me make it this. You can drag it and drop it anywhere the way you want it. Now let me make it this equal sizes. Now you can see it is getting a scroll bar here because it's not able to fit in. But looking at this screen and display screen, it will be different, because right now I'm able to see a small screen with a scroll bar. When I click on done button, may not have that scroll bar, which is good actually. Okay, this is a final one, and I have the screen called scroll bar here because it's not able to fit in that space. So always try to see in the done mode, that is your edit mode, and try to make your slides or the graphs accordingly. That is very, very important. Whenever you say done, that means you are trying to look, you're putting yourself in the customer shoe and trying to look at the dashboard. You're a developer, of course. At the same time, you're also trying to see the dashboard from the end user perspective, how the dashboard is looking. Is it nice or not? Is it squeezed? Is it have a proper space or not? That's how you're trying to judge. Now, looking at the other options, that is making vertical and horizontal. Now it's so easy. I thought I need to write a lot of script, not required. Just make it as horizontal and vertical. This is one more in 2020, the new styling option is available. Earlier, we used to struggle to get this option, but we don't have. Now we have this option called styling. When you click on styling, you'll see a simple styling, that is how you want the bar width to be. Okay, by default, there's a bar width. I never told my bar, you try to maintain this much of space. I don't have, but if you see now the bar width is, you can change, and I never had this option before in 2019. In 2020, there's a new option available, bar width. How much bar width you want to increase is up to your requirement. You can see it's looking beautiful now. At the same time, outline width. Outline width is like we outline line thickness. That is what it means. You want a smaller size. Okay, you can make it smaller. If you want in a medium style, you can change it. Okay, you can see it's a medium. You want a large width, which will entirely cover and show as a thick border into that. And anytime if you want to outer line, I'm talking about outer line, not the bar graph. When I select this red color, you'll see the bar graph will be changing to a different style altogether. If you like it, you can go for it. Otherwise, always we have an option to edit it anytime to change its styles. So this is one type of option we have changed. Let me copy this again and put it as a third graph just for fun, because whatever the changes I'm doing, you can easily compare with the graphs what is happening. Okay, let me copy this and paste it at the bottom to see what all styles I can do. Okay, now these two graphs are same. I want to use some more options to enhance this so that you can do it. This is profit by region. Uh, we have a mini chart which you have seen, and here is a question, because this bar is, though it is looking beautiful for me, the problem here is it is not really telling me what Africa is doing, what Europe number is, until when I place my mouse pointer on the particular graph. Did I really mention that I want you to show me what is Africa profit by region? Is it 2217? I never told to my Qliksense. I never told to my bar graph, but however, it's showing by default. This is placing mouse pointer on your graph. Any graph when you place, it will try to show the tooltip information, but instead you placing your mouse pointer on that, by default, I want to show what is the number. Yes, we do have that data values to be provided. So here, if you see at the bottom, we have something called, make sure like which object you have selected, because this is what most of the time we go wrong. Either you want to do the changes for the first graph, second graph, or the third graph. Please do select that object, then only you talk about the properties. So once I go down, we have something called grid line spacing. If you want a spacing, you can have, or else you can just switch it off. Okay, custom in the sense, grid line spaces you can increase or decrease. No lines, that means you doesn't require any lines at all. Okay, you already made your styling, so it's not changing. You can remove it. You can a wide line sense. Okay, we want something, you want something medium, a medium type of lines. You can change the line style here. It's not able to change because in the styling you already defined what should be the width of your line. So it's up to us again if you want to change. This is a very important feature what we have value labels, because we want people to understand. For example, let me click on this also. I want to go for value labels, and only for the first graph and third graph I put value labels. Value labels are nothing but we are trying to show at a single go how each region is showing in terms of a numbers. So that is what the difference here. But if you look at this second graph, I need to place my mouse pointer what is Africa is doing. But in case of here, there's no need to place mouse pointer directly. You can see what is the profit for the Africa, what is North Africa is doing, North America is doing, sorry. And at the bottom also you can see in the horizontal also we can have a data labels, and the vertical also we can have. There's no change at all. It's only a styling, right? So the second graph, it doesn't have anything. Still, it looks good. Actually, it's again depend. Uh, it's depends upon the how you are creating. Actually, do you really want to make your dashboard busy? Okay, if you put 54 countries and if you put data values, it's very traffic. It looks like very traffic busy page. So don't try to make it. When you have 3 or 4 bars and try to give it data labels, it looks nice. Now that's about the data labels. Now let me just click on edit. It's always going edit and done. Because I'm a developer, I need to keep using these two options, shuffle between these two options in order to enhance my chart. So once I come down, this is one more important thing which is more attractive. So let me click on the third one because we are doing a lot of changes on the third one. Uh, I'll go to the colors and legends. I want to understand what is legend mean. Legends plays very, very important role, guys. So here the legends means it's by default is everything is auto. Why auto? Because it is a standard graph which you are trying to, you just started enhancing that graph now from auto to custom. Custom is nothing but, this word is very frequently used, custom in the sense customized version of your graph. By default is auto, custom is customized version of your graph. So when once I switch it off, so that means I can change the graph the way I want. Maybe it's showing right now single color, but I'm not liking it. I want it a dimension wise. So whatever the dimension we have almost 7 dimensions now. Each dimension has its own color now. That is what you call as a custom changing colors. That means each color denotes some region here. Each color has its own country name here. That's how we have a data labels. We have something called, this is called legend. Legend in the sense, for any non-user or any layperson can easily understand. Okay, for example, you don't have the names here, but still, if I want to understand what is this color mean, what is this color mean, you have a legends in this place. So that means this color, this is probably purple color, I believe. Purple color is talking about Africa. Okay, this is Africa and this is purple. This is Asia. That means green is Asia. Australia is somewhat light green, so it's showing us a light green. So these are basically legends. Legends always defines. Trying to give more information about your graph. Here I don't have any legends here. Here I don't have any legends because this is a entirely default style actually. If you look at the first one, that's why I placed the first one as a default, because you can compare how the styling you're trying to change for your graph. Now you can see the third one is really looking good because it has all the apart from the colors, I'm sure. Uh, Apart from the colors, if you look at, like, we have a clear data values, and it is telling me what is the region by country, and this is profit by region, sorry. This is what exactly the region names, and at the right side you can see what are the region names here. But if you look at here, I don't know, I don't have any legend names here. Okay, now if you go to the same property again, let me go back. Okay, these region names also you can customizable. That means you can just click on the option to change your colors. Okay, I'm not changing it. I want you to experiment more. And this option is legend, show legend. So when I switch it off, what happens is when I say done mode, I'll not see legends anymore. So it's again depends upon whether you want a legends or not, so that you can have a full scape of your graph. You don't have any legends now. It is not telling you what is the Africa color, what is Europe color, what is the Middle East color. So it's up to you whether you want to switch it on or switch it off. So entirely Qliksense, what I observed is it's all about switching on and off. On means it's already auto mode. Off means like you are trying to customize the graph according to your requirement. So legend right now it is showing off, so I want to switch it on, which is trying to show me the auto style. So by default is showing the, and a very important thing, because okay, right now we can see the legend style is showing by default right. But what if somebody asks, can you put that the bottom? It's not really looking good at the right side. You can always say, right now it's auto style. Auto style is always right side, so don't select the right one. Right is right only, right? When you say bottom, what happens is the entire legends will come down and sit at the bottom. And depending upon your squeezing, that is how much you are trying to use this size. If you put this way, it will show in some style. Okay, if you try to use a bigger space, it will show in some style. So that means at the bottom you can see in a single go I'm able to see all the legends at the bottom, rather than the right side. So most of the time, this is a feedback which I've received actually. uh, Always put your legends at the right side only. Let it be at the right side, because human eye always looks at the right side rather than left or the bottom. It's always better to have a right side. But I'm not stopping you to explore. Go for right, left, bottom. We can also use it at the top. Surprising, we have a top option, which is really not fair to use at the top. Actually, it's always better to use at the right side. So we have auto, right, bottom, left. There's no need to tell to my ClickSense, please go for a right, because if even if you keep it at auto, it is right side only, right? By default is auto. uh, Bottom still looks good actually. You can go for a bottom as well. So this is the option what you have seen in the appearance. So let me recap what appearance is talking about. In the appearance, we have a general. General is basically talking about how you want to display your title, subtitle, or footnote. And if I go to the alternate states, which I have not spoken, third option is presentation, how you want to present. Do you want this presentation to be vertical? Instantly somebody said, I'm not liking it horizontal, just click on this, the option is done. So that means and everything is being changed to a vertical now rather than horizontal. So we are talking about horizontal, let it be in horizontal now. So that is what you have seen in the presentation, how exactly you want to present by using a different colors. That is all about presentation. So when you go for the next one, that is colors and legends, that means you want to show each dimension with one color, you can show, or you can show as a single color. By default is single color, and you can see on the first one showing in the blue color. So that's why we have the first one to compare. This is not default one, right? This is my own customized graph, okay, as per my mindset and the requirement. So that's how you can quickly make the changes. And what else you have? The very next one also plays important role, but I never try to touch these two options. The reason is, let the graph do its own things on its own. If you try to change the x-axis, okay, this is not this one, I'm talking about x-axis. In the labels and titles, what happens is, at the right left side we can see region names which you wanted. At the bottom you have something called region names. Do you really want to display that names there? It's up to you. Labels and titles, if I remove that, if I say only labels only, that means it will show only labels. It will show only labels, okay, nothing else. And if you say titles only, that means it is going to show you only the title option, but you don't have the region names here. It's just showing the region, only showing the title, but not each bar. What does it mean? It's missing. So that means you don't want that one. None, in the sense, you can see what happens by default. That is the default styles. So nothing, I mean, when you say none, that is the default style. It will go to a default mode where you don't have any option at all. That means it's not telling me what is that. But still, this is a good graph, I can say, because some of the graphs I've seen without using any names here. That means directly being a professional, I want to see Africa is purple. That means this is Africa. There is no handwritten names here at the left one. That is none. But if you say labels and titles, you'll see the label. This is called your label and titles. You can see the labels and titles. It's up to you if you want to use it or not. Number of x-axis values. So this is okay. This is auto in the sense the labels which you're trying to display, you want to be in the auto mode or max. Okay, if you say max, let's see what happens. We don't have much information here. Okay, it's going to the max one, that is based on your data. Okay, your data, your profit is max of 250 million, so it is reaching to there only. So there's no much change here. But let's try to see in the what you call x-axis region. this is a y-axis region, this is the profit area, where again we have the same stuff here, whether you want only labels, you want to display only labels here without anything. If you want to say only titles, only title is displayed but not the numbers. If you see, the number is missing here, which is again not good. Try to have always labels and titles, which, that's what I'm saying, most of the time default things are far better than customization. Customization, basically in terms of colors is good, data values is good. Okay, position where you want to place, again if you want to place it on a top, which is ideally not correct. You can see the numbers are coming at the top now, which is ideally not correct, so always you should be at the bottom. So I'll go with the default option. And the scale, again the same scale sizes we have, whether you want a wider version. Let's see what is a wide means. By default is a medium style. So when I say wide, you can see the size of the graph will become wide. That is, it started with 0. Okay, the first stopper here we have 100 million, second stopper we have is third stopper we have is 200, and the last option is 300 million, that is wide. If I say medium, which was the default one, and it went to up to 250, that is 0. Second stop was 50, earlier it was 100 because I changed it, right? So once I say narrow, it will try to give you more detailed information, that is 0, 20 million, 40 million, 60 million, 80 million. The number has changed, yes. So probably the best time to use this as an arrow when you have countries, for example, your profit is 250 million, but not every country is reaching to that place. Some countries doing only 20, some countries doing 40. So different bar heights easily you can recognize by using this narrow option from this white, from this scale. So how you want to scale the numbers. Now you see the white has become from 0 to 300. What if I have some bar which is in the mid of 0 to 100, I cannot recognize. So I want one more number here. So you can simply make it as a narrow, which will make more beautiful to understand. Okay, if some bar graph is showing, now I can see the North America is 16, standing at 16.51, which is, I can easily relate, it's between under 20 million. That's how you can easily make it. Tooltip I've not seen in the enterprise version, but however we have this basic tooltip option. I don't know why, but yeah, you can make use of it. Just try to explore this tooltip. Nothing but when you place on mouse pointer, it's showing tooltip box, right? Whether you want it or not it. So I'm doing done, and see, want to see the final look of my graph. This is how the graph is looking right now. The first one is default, second one is slightly made to horizontal spacing, the last one is with much different colors. I can say we have a much different colors. Each bar is showing a different option here. Now let's try to copy the same one, same default graph, and see what more I can do. So right now I placed, let me put this one here for time being. And this graph little bigger so that I can see the entire stuff here. Okay, the last graph you can see it's a default one. Still I want to do some more enhancements. Let's try to do that. I'll go to the edit one. There are certain situations where it's not just by region, but you want to put some more information. So that means you want to add maybe from here. Let's take, we have country. Yeah, we have a country. So I want to add a country. So the country is going to be a dimension, not really a measure. So either you can go to your property window. Here we have added a region already. There is an option called add. When you click on add, you can add one more dimension from here, or else I'll show you the one more way, easiest way I can say, which you can add one more dimension or measure for your graph, because it's not always one bar showing one dimension and one measure. Sometimes the requirement may be to add two measures and two dimensions. Okay, let's see how to add the country here. And within no time, you'll see I'm just dragging and placing on my graph here. There's a second way. I'm not leaving it now. If you look at the right side, again, we have a region and add option, but I want to add from here. Once I add the one more option here, you can see the graph is added with country now. Okay, we have country and there's a scroll bar. Why we have a scroll bar here? Because there are many countries here, right? There's many countries. When I click on edit again, when I click on edit, I can see The region has replaced with the country here. I want to add a region now. Let me add region from here, region. So I have two things here. One is region and the country. When I say done, you can see we have a region and the country is also completely messed up. I can see, you can see two things showing up here. So we have a two dimensions. One is country and as well as a region, showing multiple colors because you selected that you wanted that way by default, region uh, by measure. So let me remove the country part now for some time and add another measure. We have already added sum of profit, but I want to add units now. Let's see what happens. Now added how many units sold. Sum of units sold. I just, okay, I added the count of the sold. Now when I say done, you can see there's a one more graph placed, but you are not able to see because its number is very less. Okay, for that to show the clear differentiation, let me remove the profit itself from here. Delete. I can delete. I can add. Okay. So I'm just trying to add unit sold at the same time unit price. That is sum of unit price. Now you can see two bar going to be appeared on your screen right now. So that means two bars. Now, how do I understand this one actually? I have two bars here, but thanks to Qliksense, right side we have something called legends. So that means blue color is showing the count of unit sold. The unit price is showing in yellow color and red color is showing unit price sum. Okay, it's doubled. So let me just remove one. It is creating confusion here. So let me remove. Okay, I'm deleting. Deleting in nothing but you are trying to delete one of the measure from there. That is measure. Okay, we have unit sold and sum of unit price. Still the bar is not good because we are not able to see the blue color bars here. Though we have, if you place your mouse pointer, you can see this is 86, 43, 65. Maybe we need to take some. This is count. Instead of this count, let me make it as average maybe. You need to have a right data set to. Okay, now I can see. All right, there are two bars here. That's what the beauty of a bar graph. You can have a double bars showing each one separately. That is, if you look at any of the region, in this region, what is happening is, alone Europe, I have something called blue color bar. I don't know what is this blue. I can see here, this is average of units sold. And this red color bar showing some of the unit price. So that means you can keep adding whatever the number of bars you want here, a number of measures you want. Let me add one more here. This is add unit price sold. I want to add the profit also. So let me add profit. I want min of profit, let's assume. I just say done. Minimum profit it is showing or not. Okay, now you can see three bars here. Specifically, let's see the same Europe. You have this blue color bar showing for the average unit sold. The yellow color is showing units price. The min of the profit is showing in the red color. So all three bars for each region showing different variations here. This is a very good graph as per my knowledge is concerned, but don't go beyond three. It's very confusing. Don't go beyond three. But however, what if I can make all three bars into one bar, which is showing equally, not equally, as per their size, unit sold, some of the unit price, so, and what is the minimum profit. Let's see what we can do, better enhancements for this graph. So I'm just trying to add more measures here to see what I can do, but I want to make this as a different bar graph. Let's see. In the region, I don't have much to do because already it's done, only one region. And if I go to the average sales, I have the same properties, nothing new. Unit price also same the properties, whether you want in number format or whatever the percentage format you can see. And if you go to the profit option, if you go to the profit option, we have the same kind of stuff again, whether you want an auto number or what format you want. And I want to make this into a different style now. Let's take a look. This is a sorting option, which you already have. There's add-ons which you haven't touched. If when you go to the appearance, what I can see is in the general we have the same options. After adding this, nothing has changed. But if you go to the presentation, there is something different. Okay. Now let's try to understand very carefully the very first graph which you created. It was trying to show me the profit which I made for each region. But if you look at the last one at the bottom, it is trying to tell me in Africa alone, each region wise, in Africa alone, what is my minimum profit, what is my unit price, what is my unit sold for each region. Three different bars with a different colors, which is looking nice. But what if you have a different requirement? Like we keep adding measures and the bars are increasing, which is really difficult to understand. So that's why something comes really handy. We can use this horizontal, of course, the way we have did for this one, but still it is not so readable, I can say. It's not really good because we have something called scroll bar here. So this particular graph really requires a lot of room in order to display all the information. So what I can do is I'll do a simply this entire bar into a stack bar. Okay, you might have heard stack bar. Stack bar is nothing but showing all three bars into a one particular bar with its own sizes. Let's see, very beautiful. Just click on the stack bar option and everything will become into one particular bar only. Now I don't have a three bars, it's only one bar, but showing different elements into one graph. That means blue color, if you look at here, blue color is talking about units sold. So for the Africa, this is the size. Asia, this is the size. If you look at this, North America is little thinner. If you look at Europe, the red bar is very thinner. For this one, it's really big. So that means everything you are going to summarize into one particular graph. That is called as stack bar. In the single bar, you are trying to show many measures. For Africa, previously had three bars. Let me go back to that previous one so that we can really compare what I'm talking about. So how do I go back actually? Do I need to change here? No, we have an option at the bottom where you can say undo. Undo is nothing but whatever the changes you have done, you want to go back to the manual position. So nothing but just click on this, you went back. Let me keep this bar into small so that you can really see the difference between this and stack bar. Stack bar chart is really, really beautiful. It only helps you when you want to make all three into one. So let's start comparing again. The first graph talking about only one bar. Okay, my business requirements to add one more measure, so I added here, but I'm not still happy because seven regions still okay. But what if I have a 54 countries? It will become very, very big graph. So you can combine everything into one particular graph called stack bar. And the beauty is again same thing. When you place a mouse pointer, you can see yellow color bar if you want to see individually. But if you place your mouse pointer here, you can see the entire graph. Entire graph is showing some of the positivities. Uh, Africa average sales, some of its profit, minimum profit. It is trying to show in a single window. Okay, and if each individual one also we can see here when I'm placing. So instead of having single bar graph, horizontal, having multiple bars, when you want to club, there's a one more option. So within the bar graph, you just look at this picture. Within the single bar graph, what all you can do? You can change the colors, you can change the height and width, you can change the uh, difference between one bar to another bar. You can do all those magics if you know the properties better. But again, there is a question actually. When I was looking at the before, this property was missing. How come I got this property right now? If I click on the first graph, which was the default standard, I have only two options. Either you want to go for a horizontal, either you want to go to a vertical. But when I click on this option, Qliksense has identified this is not a simple bar graph, but with multiple measures. So let me give him one more chance. That is making it as a stacked one. So that means clubbing everything into one. In this, we have a group chart. It is grouped now. By default, it is grouped only. When you're adding more options, it is grouped. That means all yellows are not at one place. All blues are not at one place. All reds are not at one place. This is three bars are related to Africa. So showing in one particular area, Asia, we have a three here. So that's all. When you look at the first bar, I do not have multiple options where I can make a stack bar. Really, in this portion, I'm not really interested to create a stack bar, but this is only one bar. We're showing only one thing, that is sum of profit. But here there is a requirement. Why? Because we have a three bars which you want to combine into one. So that's why this additional option which is triggered into my property window. So by default, we don't have, when you have multiple measures, we have this stack bar. This stack bar, again, you can make it horizontal or vertical as per your requirement. I'm making this horizontal stack bar. This is horizontal vertical and horizontal. Sorry. So overall, this is my graph is looking like now, where I'm able to see all these three. But however, I don't want the profit to be at the top. I want at the bottom. You can do that sorting the way you want because you are already aware how this profit sorting can be done. When I click on this, let me see what sorting can I do here. When I go to the sorting, I don't want the profit to be at the top. I want to make it at the somewhere in the middle. So that means I'm making the red to go out. Okay. Now you can see average of the sold. You can see the way it is changing here. Win profit. So all these sortings again, whether you want a horizontal, I mean, whether you want a ascending or descending, you can still go for it. But this is the default style. And as you know, the sorting options you can make it. And here is the styling again, the same style. Whether you want a bar width to be very width you want to increase or you want to have slight change here, okay, very thin. It's all depends how much you want to increase or decrease. Anytime if you feel I've done completely messed up my graph, you just click on the reset all, which will reset to the original position. Now let me make it little bigger. That's it. So this is the complete story about the bar graph, how well you can enhance based on your business requirement. But recently I noticed there is a one more option available, the same bar graph or uh, stock bar. If you want to show region and as well as a country wise, how to show. Let me click on edit and I want to create some more space. No, space is not available. So let me click on this one within the single space. Okay, within the single space I want to create one more bar which can show country wise. Okay, let me go to the next page. I'll copy this. This will also clearly demonstrating how you can go to the next page and paste the graph which you have created. So I'm going to the next page here. I'm pasting here. Once I paste this, now you have seen how to add measures, but can I add dimensions here? But what is the use of adding a dimension? Let's see. If I add dimension, it will completely mess up your already we have a region, right? So let me add a country here. I'm saying country, though we have an option of adding one more dimension, but it will not give a clear picture here because it's completely messed up. It is telling it is also a region, it is also a country. So the bar graph has become very lengthy here. You can see it has spread across your page, completely messed up. I'm hardly understanding. Okay, it is telling all the African countries have all these bars under Africa. So let me go to Asia. All these bars are related to Asia. Just imagine for a human mind to read this graph is very difficult, right? So let's try to make our end user life easy. I just want to remove from there because it's completely messed up my graph. Though it's easily understandable, but I don't want my end user to scroll here and there to see what is happening. So rather, I'll just edit it. I'll remove the country from here. Please notice there is an add option here to add another dimension. The way you added another measure, we have alternative here. Alternative in the sense, see what happens quickly when I can add country here and I say done. All right, I could not see much difference actually, but I was expected this graph to show me in a single space region as well as country. But however, I don't see that one here. Still, there are no much changes. I have the regions, I have the same profit. But if you notice at the bottom, there is a region and there's a drop down here. When you click on this, there is an option which will pop up saying that you added a region and as well as country. Do you want to see in the country wise? Just click on it. So that means the entire graph becomes only for country, not for regions. Now, somebody wants to see at a region level, you can see. So that means I really want to save the space on my dashboard. In a single graph, I want to show multiple things. This is what you can do it. But however, it is not really advisable to go more than three. Three is still good to add something like an option for the end user. You can navigate from region to country, after that from country to city. Okay, you can put a lot of measures here, but it's not advisable because if you have multiple options it's really confusing. So up to three it's advisable. That is what I understood after working on the live projects. Don't go for beyond two. Three is max. So single graph is really helping you in adjusting the entire graph. So let's try to understand this way. I have this graph in this single space. I have this graph here at this single space so that I can use this space for some other graph. So single space, but doing the functionality of two graphs here, region and the country. Here we go. So country is showing all the countries here, but it's not advisable to show all the countries because most of the times you want to see only the top 10 performing countries. Okay. So whenever you do some structural changes for your graph, this is what comes at the pop-up at the right side. It's saying, do you want to apply these changes? So that means you change from country to region. Now you want to apply these changes. What happens if I do apply changes? Let's see, again, I'll go to the edit. Instead of region, I will keep this as country. And when I go to edit, it's asking, do you want to apply these changes? I say apply and I go to done. So by default, your graph will be showing only country, not region. So that is what it is trying to tell you. Whatever the structural changes you have done for your graph, do you want to make it permanent changes? But however, the end user is still allowed to use the region from region to country. So once you say edit, again the pop-up will come up. Okay, edit. It's again asking, do you want to keep these changes what you've done? So that the end user will always see by default country, not the region. So that's what you can do. Say apply if you like it. Then go for here and somewhere we have this option of limiting it, right? Let me find out where it's at. When I want to profit, I don't have that option. Okay, where I can limit. When I went to this option called, we have where you'll have in the regions. I don't want any limitations in the country. Somewhat I believe there are a lot of countries here. I just want to limit to fix to some top 10 countries only. Please try to show me not all the countries because space is not sufficient. Even the customer is looking only for top 7, top 10 maybe. Show others. It's trying to mitigate the rest of the countries into one particular graph, which is again not really advisable. Though we have an option, you can use it, but when you deselect it, and you'll see only top 10 countries, performing countries in particular. That means if you look at from here to here, Vietnam, these are the only top 10 countries out of that 50 or 100 countries. So now region is still remains same because we have not done any changes for the region, because top 10, it's already 7 regions, so it cannot reduce further. So that's what you can make your bar graph to act as a two graphs within the single graph. That's a new option which I just discovered when I have this kind of a requirement in my live project. Zoom recording. So having seen the bar graph, that is the first graph, which is the world most favorite bar graph, and it is specially used. We all understood where is the best fit of this bar graph can be used. Now let's move on to the next graph. Let's see what are the other graphs we have. A lot of graphs available, but I'm interested to learn the next immediate one, that is filter pan. Okay, filter pan, when you try to place the first observation, if new tool, new object is getting placed tomorrow in 2021 or in coming years, when a new version is also changed, version will never change, they will try to add new objects. That's it. When I place here, the first thing I want you to notice is what it is asking me actually. I placed what? The filter pane. The word itself is indicating filtering, something you want to filter. Okay, you want to filter out of all the objects, you want to filter and see what is happening. So when I placed, to my surprise, there is only one option available, that is add dimension. So that means it will always take only dimension, not measure. Let me see what is the dimension actually. I'm curious to see when I click on this. These are my different dimensions. Let me add first one, region, maybe. Okay, added my regions here. I added twice. Okay, delete it. Now these are my regions. This is a filter pan. Not understanding, looks like a table, but it has a lot of importance. Let's see. I want to add one more filter pan here just for fun to see what happens. How Qliksense smartly working on this particular object. You can copy and paste also, but I'm just trying to add one more here. Just place it anywhere so that you can drag the way you want. I'm just placing here and trying to drag it. Now I'm adding one more option called, very interesting and very important. You'll see what is the importance of it. Now I'm just done with my filter. That's it. It is asking only one question. So I'm really, it's very easy for me to do this job. I just done. Now, this looks something like a filter in the Excel option, looking like auto filter. I can use compare with the Excel still. If you look at this, the first option, it's saying filter. So let me not select anything. Here it's asking me to filter. Now, if I select Asia, what does it mean? If I selected Asia, I selected this. Okay. So that means it is trying to show me only those countries which are Asian related countries. Okay. Let me select Australia also. That means two country related information it is trying to filter automatically without anything I've done. If you notice, I've not written any script. Okay. I'm selecting these four options and I'm selecting OK. What happens here? Let's try to scroll the other filter pane and see it is showing everything in white color. What is the white color denotes here is, okay, before that, one more color, because always I'm interested in identifying things with the colors. That's how, as a human, we can easily relate to anything for that matter. Whatever the things I've selected in the first filter, let me remove everything again. Right now, everything is looking white. That means no selection has been done. Let me select only two here. That is Asia and Africa. I selected, then I need to give the confirmation for this selection. If you don't, if you cancel, that means you are not interested to select anything. But if you select this, ensure that you are putting that tick mark here, say OK. So that means you selected two. How should I know that I've selected these two? There are two things. At the top, you can see out of 7 regions, you have selected two. And here we can see there are two in green color. That means these two are selections. Rest of the things are grayed out. Grayed out in the sense they are still editable. There are, you can still select, but you have not selected. That's not your interest. Let me select the mid list. Can I do that? Yes. Okay, I selected all, but why to select one? Is there any option where I can select all at once? So let me close this. Can I select all once? Okay, you can select like this completely, but if you have longer list, it's very painful. Let me go for one more option. If I click on this, there is a three dotted button. What it is trying to tell you is select all. So once you click on select all these options are selected and say OK. So all these regions related countries are displaying here. And if you come down, everything is showing in white color. That means all these regions countries are available here. So that means when I close this and only select Asia, which is now green color, and rest all gray out, I'm more curious to see what is happening in the country. Is it showing only Asian countries here or any other countries? So let me scroll down here. There are other countries which are grayed out. What does it mean? Afghanistan is not under the Asia. Okay. Albania, it's not related to Asia. So that means whichever is not related to Asia, everything is grayed out. So let me select Middle East probably. Then it will try to show you Asia related and Middle East. I've selected only these countries are visible. Of course, everything is visible, but rest all grayed out. That means these are not related to this one. So that's how the filter really works. This is a complete view of your filter. We don't have much thing to discuss here. It's all about a filter. Filter is in the sense you always have this filters at the top of the dashboard. When somebody is selecting Asia, the entire dashboard you want to change the view to Asia only. Now, if you just observe the first demo which I had, which is developed by someone, it is doesn't have that filters, right? So if you don't have filters, it looks like a handicap because end user cannot filter and see, slice and dice according to his requirement to see what is happening in the dashboard. So let me close this. There's one more option, very interesting. When I click on edit, I don't want this to be very lengthy one because it's taking a lot of space. Let me make it a smaller one. Okay. Let me make this also smaller one. I want to make this into very big one. I'd always try to adjust. Don't try to leave any gaps in between. Try to fill it because the entire space is occupied now. Once I say done, now try to notice what is the difference between the previous style and this style. Now it looks like a real filter. When you click on that, a drop down list will appear in front of you from which you can select anything. For example, there's a huge list. I don't know if that country is there or not. For example, let's select. I have India here. Okay, India is related to which region? So let me select. I said, okay. The moment I selected, here it is showing a small dot of green color. That means something is selected in this particular, that is in the list. India is selected, rest all grayed out. But what happened to the other filter here? I have not done any changes to this filter. So that means this country is selected in this particular filter. When I click on this, you will find that Asia is highlighted here. That means rest all grayed out. This India is related to Asian countries, not for the rest of the countries. That's how a filter works automatically without your any involvement. Uh, for example, we have a region, we have a country, we have a state, we have city. So that means once you select Asia, that related countries will be populated in the second filter. In the third filter, you will find its corresponding states only displayed. In the fourth filter pan, you'll see only its corresponding cities will be displayed. That's the beauty of these filters. So that means in Excel, I still remember if you want to create this drop down boxes in Excel, I need to write extensive formulas to create this one. But here, I'm not doing anything. It's very simple. We have a filters at the top. If you want to see the real importance of it, let's see. Let's try to copy these two, but these are two different filters actually. I cannot copy these two at once. So that's again, once again, a limitation what I've seen in the Qliksense. You cannot select multiple object at single go. So that means the way I select in Excel or any application, I'll use the shift plus this one, but it is not selecting. Even if you use a shift very hardly also, it will not allow you because you can select only one at a time. But I hate putting these filters separately. So what I do is I'll simply delete this one country and make this region as a very long one. This is what I started doing recently. Within the region, add one more filter called country. Once you say country, and you'll see now it's a very single filter with two objects, two filter pans. Now, whenever you're trying to edit this, according to the science, it will both you're trying to change automatically. But in case of the first one, let me go back to the undo position where I have two separate filters. Okay. Now somebody asked me, can you put that country first and region later? Because that's not the sequence. Okay. Let me do that. I want to do it. Somebody's told me. So what I need to do is I need to call this region here for some, park it somewhere else and move this country here and keep this at the top and make this region at the top. And somebody asked, can you also add a type? Okay, let me add product type. Is it a type? Okay, type. Added that added type here. Not in the same one, sorry. Let me delete this. I want to create one more filter pan. I want to take the pain of adjusting this, which is not so easy. Uh, I'm adding a type here. Somebody asked after the complete project, can you also add this one? So I added one more. So what I'll do is I'll adjust this. So to adjust this to fix in under this after region, I need to move this little bit, select this again, move little bit. Can you please move little bit so that I can come and sit here? Okay, now all three are fixed. Very good, looking nice. But suddenly there is a requirement changed. The styling, the ordering you put, it's not really right way. Can you change this little bit? Country, I want the last one. So just imagine the kind of pain I'm going to take again to adjust all these things because I thought like everything is done. The country is in the right place, region is in the right place, type is the right place. But somebody advised me, can you move the item type to second place? Okay, let me do that. How easy it is, let's see. I removed this region here and kept here for time being. Item I moved here. It's all about clicks, drag and drops. Click, it's not correct size. So let me make it size and now it's done. What if requirement again changed? Can you move this country to here? And no. It cannot be done this way, right? Because we have all individual entities here, individual filter pans. Whenever I want to move here and there, it's very difficult. So let me move. I'm not liking this anymore. Adding multiple filters. I want to have multiple filters though, but I don't want this style. Let me add only one filter. Within that filter, I want to have all those filters which my business is asking. For instance, in the country itself, I want to have region maybe. Okay, I want to have the type. Let me add the type here, item type. That's it. I have three options here. Okay. Now in a single go, I can move here and there whatever I want. But here again the same issue. What somebody asked, like item type should be the first one. Not to worry, it's so easy now. Just go to the properties, select this one, and just move this item type at the top. That's it. Item type came to the first one. Somebody said no, it's not good. Just move the country at the top. Yes, country is also at the top now. Whatever the changes you want to do now, you can do very quickly with one filter, multiple options. Very good. The country is looking uppercase, rest all looking lowercase. Don't do that. Can you give a proper name? I can change the title, country, or I want to make that country is my column name, but I want to say here market, maybe markets. That is my presentation sake. I'm changing region to be a region. So let me go to the property of region here. We have only simple properties here. That is giving titles there. Item type, I want to make item type, let it be. I want to go for a region. I want to give a proper case because rest all should be to match with the rest of the things. So here I'm changing to region. We don't have much options in this, just rather than giving the names and this. Okay, sorting you can do which one you want to sort first. You want the region first, keep the region first. Okay, you want the market to be last, market last. So how you want to sort it? Appearance, again we don't have much here. Whether you want any what do you call title, generally we will not have a titles for this because it's this itself is a filter pen. Alternate state, as I said, let's hold this for some more time because this is not the right pace. So now I can see the advantage of creating all this is into one, because initially even I used to have this filters separately, and when I want to move this filters to another sheet, same type of filters, it's not so easy. Now it's very easy. Just cut it, go back to what happened. Okay, if you just make it very bigger, this is how your filter is going to look like. Let me show you that as well. This is how your filter look like. Now if I click on Asia, the good part is it will tell you in the Asian countries what are the different products I am selling and which are the markets getting influenced. If I select Asia, so that means all regions are selling these products. So let me select central, some baby food, and this. So that means these two are related to all the countries. So that's how quickly we can understand and analyze the data. But I don't like to put the filters like this because it occupies a lot of space on your screen. Because it's always advisable to put your filter panes. This is called as a filter panes. That's a term being used. You can see here filter panes. So always try to make it a single line so that it can look good. And it will not take much space also. Let me go back and paste it here. Let's see if I can fit in this. And again, I'm going to take the same pane to adjust this filter in the previous one. So that's why you need to have very clear idea what kind of page you should have before you create. So now just imagine how many things I need to adjust. I need to make this one. I need to make this into little small. I need to put the filter at the top. I thought of explaining this when you are doing the project, but let's see practically the importance of it. How beautifully you can make your page by adding these filters. Not only just beautification, but also how end user can easily, he can make life easy when he's trying to navigate from. Okay, I just done it now. You can see at the top I have a filters, very beautiful. At the bottom I have the all the objects which are required. Somebody want to see in the markets. Let's go for a few markets here. I've selected this. I selected OK. All your graphs will automatically change to that particular country. So I've selected this only markets here, not the regions, but this is only talking about regions. But if you look at this one, what are the markets I've selected? Those are related to this particular region. So that's why even this graph is also trying to respond to these selections. I've selected this one. I don't see Asia anywhere because I've not selected any country which is related to Asia here. So very quickly, entire dashboard has been filtered, or even end user can filter the way he wanted by on the dashboard itself. What I mean, that means if I want to select what is happening in the Africa, what is happening in the called Asia, I've selected two, and you can say simply okay to this. But however, this is you're putting a lot of pressure on the end user to select whatever you want. Rather, if you what if you can give the filters at the top so that you can easily select. I want to see only in the Asia region or Africa region. So let's select Asia. This entire dashboard now talking about only Asia, nothing else, nothing else. It's talking about only Asia here. So that's how the filters can be used to filter out. And you have seen how easy it is copying and pasting filter. If you want this filter to be in every page, I can simply copy it and go to the next page. Next page already have. I want to go to the next page and paste it here. At the top, always I wanted to have filters so that the user can filter the way he wanted. Here I don't have anything, but the still I have a filters here. But yeah, here the one thing you need to notice, what if I've selected filter in one particular page, is it applicable to only that page? That is what I have a question here. I've selected two. I said, okay. Here I don't have anything which is trying to respond to this region what I've selected, but let me go back to the previous pages because I've selected out of 7 regions, 2 regions, still it is affecting. That means whatever the selections you do, that is not only for the page one, but that selection is also applicable for the other pages. Okay, so that means I've selected in the second page, but these selections are also showing up in the first page. But when I'm going to the second page, what if I don't want the selection, you can remove it in the first page or in the second page. These are basically filter pans. Either you can use in a slimmer version, that is where we'll have a drop down box, or you can use a fat version where you have all this completely displayed to the end user so that he can select like this, just like that. Select, say okay. So all these countries are related to all these countries, only specific countries what I've selected now. What it is trying to tell me for my analysis, these two, only two products are sold in these countries, and these two countries are related to this particular two regions. That's beautiful analysis which is trying to give me by the Qliksense smart engine, which is done automatically without any involvement. All right, having seen the bar graph with the different styles, uh, even we have seen now filters. Filters have two styles here. Either you can show in a slimmer version, the one which you are seeing on the screen, or you can show in the fat screen, that is where you can detailed version of each object. That means just when you click on this, I'm not writing any script again, just drag it and drop it. It will show the complete information. I cannot call it this as a table because this is not a table, it's a filters. But I always advise and better to use as a slimmer version, looks like a filters at the top rather than full version, and it occupies a lot of space on your screen, guys, believe me. So don't use this option. Let's go for the next one, that is pivot tables. So pivot tables, we all know we've been using in the Excel for a long, and what does the pivot table does? Pivot table is basically try to summarize your table, right? Pivot table consists of kind of a rows, columns, which contains the dimensions and measures fields again, right? You have a country column, we have a region column, we have unit sold. Unit sold is nothing but your measure, and profit is nothing but your okay, profit is nothing but again a measure. The moment I say region, you should say it's a measure. The moment I say if it is a sales profit, it should be a measure. Sorry, it's a measure. Dimension is nothing but your country, product, order ID, whatever. So now pivot table, as I said, like consists of a rows and columns, just like your Excel. Okay, the way you look at your pivot table in Excel, Qliksense is also same. It's not different. But now the question is, why do you need a pivot table on your dashboard? Yes, I need it because I have millions of data which I want to show in a summarized data, right? Summarized version. When you want to see for a quick analysis for the end user, you can create the pivot table. But somehow I am not able to find if there is a pivot table in this. And not to worry, just type in PIO. I have the pivot table option. So if you are not able to find it, no worry, there is a search option, smart search option. Just click this and drop it here. Okay, the moment you drop, I want to learn from the concept of options which it's showing right now. There are two options. Is asking, can you please tell me what you want to place on the rows, what you want to place on the values. So in the row values, what do you want to place? Let's see. On the data, again, it has its own properties. We have row, column, value. So if you look at the bar graph, it has only one thing, that is dimension and measures. Here also we have dimension and measures, but there is additional option which is available called as columns, because your pivot table is a three-dimensional one which will have a rows, columns, and values. So let me add the dimension first, which is nothing but going to be, let's take it as a country for now. You can add it from here. No wonder you can also add from here. If you're not happy with these two options, don't worry, go to the fields and click on the first one, region. I'm just dragging and dropping on it. The moment I drop it, Qliksense is sometimes smart enough to understand what you're trying to place there, but it will also ask you a polite question. Do you want to add this as a measure? Let's see. If I click on this measure, sorry, I added it already. So let me add it again. I'm adding the region. So it is asking add region. Where I click on add region, it will simply add. But if you are expecting this to be as a measure, you need to click on this. When you click on this, it will ask you again three questions. You want a sum, you want an average, you want a count, you want a min, you want a max. If you cancel it, of course you don't want, you're not liking it. So once I say add region, let's see what happens. So I'm just adding a region as a row. Now I want to add a column. I want to add the column as a country. I'm sure the pivot is going to look very ugly, but I want to do my own changes. So I added the country also. So it's asking three things here. One is region, one is a row, one is column. And what does a measure mean? That means you want to show your, maybe you want to show your profit there. Let me say click on profit. The moment I click on profit, being its measure, it's asking me which aggregation you want to use it. So you want the sum of profits. So let me click on it. The moment I click, you'll see a nice dashboard which is coming up for each country at the top, which is not the right pivot table, I can say, because it's showing regions at the left. At the top, Afghanistan, what is the sum of profit? What is the sum of profit? Okay, let me do some more modifications here. It's not, if you want to show as a table, it will be very big. So I'm trying to use a pivot table to summarize it. So let me change this style entirely. I don't want this, intentionally I've just dropped here and there, but so that I can change the way I want. I have two profits added. Let me remove one. Now, if you try to analyze this, analyzing is very important here. For Africa, for Afghanistan, in the Middle East, we have this profit. Rest of the things, of course, Afghanistan is not related to anything else. Now, if I want to change the style, actually, I'm not liking this style. Can I do the changes? I want to put the region into the column one. Just drag it and drop it now. Now, the country, I want to put it at the top. That's it. Now, your dashboard looks little different because now we have country at the low and a column at the regional level. Let's see how it finally look at the done mode, because you may not understand this at this level. Now I can see the country as showing at the top, okay, as a column, and the region is showing in the row level, and these are my values. So that means by looking at the pivot table, I'm able to easily analyze where all I have the profits in which region and which country. So that means if I look at the Europe, these are the countries which is really making up my profit. So luckily we have already the filters at the top, and see how beautifully can change it. So I just clicking on Asia. Let's see what happens. Will I get only Asian countries at the pivot table? And there is no connection. This is what the surprise is. There's no connection between this pivot table and the filters, but pivot is changing its style just because you have changed the region at the top. And let me check only few items, though item type is not a part of this pivot table, but I want to see where are these four products being sold in which country. Let me see. All the countries are serving it. Okay, fine. So let me go to the markets and select only few markets, not all the markets. I've selected few markets only, so that means I'm interested only in these markets. Now you can see all these markets which I've selected are relevant to only three particular regions, that is Africa, Europe, and Middle East. Where are my other regions gone? It's still there. The only thing is you have selected, it's your selection, and that's how you're trying to customize this pivot table as per your requirement. And what if you pasted the pivot table on the, you created the pivot table on the dashboard, but somebody needs this data for their further analysis? Can you do that? You just right click on it. Let me remove everything now. I want the full information to be downloaded to my Excel. Is it possible? Yes. Just right click on it, and you can look at as a data style, nothing but your table style, or you can say download. Once you say download, it will have it will have three versions. In the cloud version, please, in your enterprise version, the one which you have licensed version in the company, will not have three options. You'll not have the image option, you'll not have pdf option, you'll have only data option. We don't have other options, these are disabled. But however, in the cloud we have three versions because it's a free version, right? So once you say pdf or data, for example, now I'm downloading data because I don't want in PDF because you're not going to see practically in your offices. PDF is not available. Once you say download, what happens is beautifully the same file, the same style, what you are going to see on your dashboard will be completely converted to a Excel file for further analysis for the end user. Maybe you require this data, this data, this data to be shown in the pivot table he wants, so he can download the way he wanted. Okay, so entire file has been downloaded in the it's opening and closing also fine. So that's how you can just download the entire information into your okay. The entire information can be downloaded in the form of Excel if end user wanted that option. I'm not creating actually. It is available within the Qliksense by default, but it cannot be converted to PPT, the most frequently question asked. But if we don't have that option of downloading to a PPT, we have that option, but only in the case of storytelling, not in the real dashboard. So now you can see without uh, using without actually trying to filter, I'm just able to filter with the filters at the top. So that's the advantage. Try to keep all those required filters which most commonly required for your data. As per my data is more about sales, so I'm using region, country, item type. But however, pivot table itself has its own filters by default. So that means pivot table doesn't require any filters. It has its own filters. You can see at the country, when you click on that, these countries can be selected and say, okay, that's it. This is a filter within the pivot table. I'm not using the top filter. So it's up to completely our requirement. When I have a pivot table, I don't want to have a filters at the top. Okay, so it's there within that. And anytime end user, this is what the self-service BI tool. That's why Qliksense is called as a self-service BI tool. You created the pivot table like this, but probably end user wants to see in a different style. Can he make this region he has drag and drop here at the read-only style? He's trying to change this region. Maybe we don't have in a cloud environment. Okay, now you can see he changed the complete view what you have changed, what you have created. But does that mean you created something pivotable for me as an end user? I'm changing it? No, he is changing just for his single view purpose only. In the Africa, all these countries, he's just changed. Europe, he has all these countries. Maybe he is interested to look at the data like this. But once he goes off from here, this session, and come to the second position, or once he close this dashboard for his view purpose only, the dashboard will come to his normal mode. But I'm not closing the entire Internet Explorer, but that's how it works. So you can change this and put it here. My Moses. He can slice and dice the way he wanted. The pivot table can be changed according to his requirement. That's why we call it as self-service BI tool. Self-service in the sense he can slice and dice and create the own style of pivot table for his consumption. But it doesn't mean that he is trying to change your style. Your style is already there. Once he closes this Internet Explorer or whatever the browser is using, again the pivot table will look like same, the one which you created. He is just changing for his purpose. That's it. So this is all about the pivot table. Let me see if I can do some more additions, and I want to understand what are the other properties available. So once I say apply, it will be applied. So I'm not applying discard. Once I discard, you'll see you'll see it will coming to the normal position. And here in the profit, I have the number formatting. I don't want to show this number such in this style. Probably I want to show in the number format where I can see the commas, separators, and dot with two decimals. So maybe I am not interested in two decimals. I just want to have that comma separated. That's it. I want the round figure amount. Maybe I want to have one decimal, nothing wrong in it. I can use one decimal. Maybe you want to show in the percentage as a 12%. I mean, only percentage without any decimals. Maybe you want to show percentage with two decimals maybe. It's all up to your requirement how you want to do it. So we don't have much styling here because that's a biggest disadvantage here. We can't do much stylings in this particular pivot table. Pivot table, but in the cloud version, this is what I observed. We have some styling options available, which you can do. Header font size. Right now, it's showing some size here. I want to say some 20. The header size instantly will change. This came in 2020, 2019. We don't have this option. We used to consume this pivot table as pivot table. There's no styling at all. The content size, you want to show something like 15. Let me make this as a 15. And next one, you want to make this header font color. Header font color is this only font color, guys. You can't expect the background color to be changed. If I remember correctly, in the Excel pivot table, headers, rows, columns, you can instantly change the colors, but in the pivot table, it's not possible. Only header color I could able to change, but in the font text color also, I can change something I want to show in a decent blue color. Everything is blue color changed. Scrollable size, you want a small size. Scrolling, how quickly you want to scroll, it's a medium or large. When you're trying to scroll, it will take a big jumps. That is what the scrollable size means. By default, is small is good always. And anytime if you don't like it, you can always reset all. So having said that, we don't have much options here, but there is something called rows fully expanded or indent rows. Let's see what is the fully expanded. When I click on fully expanded, I say done. I don't see much difference here. How's that? How this is going to help me? Let's see. Let me go to edit. I want to add in the data, we have country and region. Within the columns, I want to add countries also. Let's see. I want to show you the difference between the fully expanded option. I added country here. Okay, we have that add, add, let's say item type. Okay, I have added the item type here. Not here, sorry. Let me go for the rows, so that we can see the option of editing, done editing. Now, what it is trying to tell me is in Africa, these are the products which is being sold. Africa, this is what the products, Algeria, these are the only three products, baby food, office, vegetables, not all the products being sold. That's what quickly I'm able to analyze. But what is this option? Still, my question remains same. Let me select this one, go to the appearance one, remove the fully expanded and see what happens here. Fully expanded is removed. Rows also removed. Let's see what is the difference. When I go done editing, you can see it is Afghanistan is still showing that product types, but it is hidden. That means when you click on this plus symbol, then you are going to find the product types in the separate column. That is without full expanding. But the advantage of full expanding, if you check it at the, I'm discarding it because I don't want these changes. When I click on this full expand, this whatever the product types which are hidden in the Afghanistan or any country, when I click on this fully expanded, you'll see this will come as a separate field altogether. Let me click on this. Now you can see done editing. Now you can see Afghanistan is repeated only once, but it products showing in three. So this is how the pivot table styling you can change. Uh, Again, depends upon the requirement, how you want to show as a separate column, or you just remove it so that all this will come under this particular one particular product under the Afghan. You need to click on this expand to see what all having, but this is more frequently used because you don't want the end user to click each one to see what is happening. So still my filters are really working so nice. If you select the three, only three regions are showing up at the top, four are showing up at the top, and these are the countries which are related to these regions, and these are the countries type of products which I'm selling in these regions and countries, and these are the different profits which I made in these particular regions and countries, and the products which I sold. That's what the beauty of pivot tables, either in Excel or in the Qliksense, Power BI, QlikView, Tableau. The pivot table is a pivot table, the standard pivot table mean summarizing the data so that it's more of pivoting. The word itself is in pivoting. You slice and dice, consume the data as per your requirement. So that's about pivot table, which works. And again, we have the same very old stuff. When you click on show titles, you want to give a title or not. Yes, no, option is still available. That means when you say on it, When you try to put your title, subtitle, footnotes, you can still go for that. That's it. We don't have much things about pivot table. Pivot table is just trying to summarize your data. Let me give a proper name to my sheet because it's not telling me what is this sheet is all about. Click on this and say pivot table. Pivot table. That's it. I given the pivot table name. You need to click on the right object to look into its properties. That is very important, and say done. That's it. My pivot table is required, is ready. And the beauty of this pivot table option, what I've recently discovered, I'm not liking this one because it has a lot of space. I want to drag it, right? So generally, whatever the editings I'm doing and the edit mode, but if you look at this scroll, I'm not able to drag it, but this can be done in the read-only mode only. So that means when you select this one, just make it little smaller. And if you want to make this as little smaller, once you say edit sheet, and it will ask you, do you want to apply the changes what you have done? Say apply. The column width, out of it, we don't have an option, but you can see the size has been changed now. The size has been changed. That means earlier it was very big. Now I made the column width as little smaller. So you can do all these snapshots within your read-only memory. I'm in the read-only mode. I'm closing it. Asia not required. I want to make it little bigger, the region. I want to make this also a little bigger. And once I say edit sheet, it will show me apply. Yes, apply. And forever, the pivot table size you have changed. Of course, you can change anytime, but this is how I changed. Now you can see very lengthy information, okay, where it can fit in. But the rest of the regions, if you see, I have not specified anything. Like, can you please put a column width as 18, 30, 35? No. It's automatically takes the size depending upon the width of your number or anything. So that's all about your pivot tables. Hope this is clear.